All right, this is Native Boy KTA, and I want to make a quick little video, right? Not really a short, but I want to make a video dealing with a topic in Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis community, IBS, IBD, dealing with milk, right? This is a big topic in the nutrition community, diet community, milk, right? So I did a little live stream on antioxidants. I got one on fiber coming soon, but I wanted to talk about this because this is something that's been bothering me for a while now, ever since I've came across more of this information dealing in regards to this topic, right? You can see the title, right? In the title, milk. Is milk bad for you? Is milk good for you? Right? Ever since we've been growing up, it's kind of like we've been getting this mixed type of, um, kind of like a mixed type of thing on this topic, dealing with if milk is bad, if milk is good. It's kind of mainstream to say milk is good, and then it's like kind of woke or kind of like conspiracy theory type in the back, in the back, that milk is bad, or like it's new information that we're getting, and we're learning that milk is bad, right? Now I want to go over why it bothers me so much. Milk is something that it has negatives and it has positives. Obviously everything that you eat and drink has negatives and has positives, right? But for you to flat out call something that a person eats or drinks bad, for you to say this is bad food, you don't want to put this inside of you, it's going to destroy you. For you to say something is good, you put this inside of you, it's going to prolong your life. Usually good food is anything that will prolong a person's life. um it's usually anti-cancerous, usually fight off disease, has to have things in it that have a nutritional value that do things like that. Bad things, right, and good bacteria. Bad things, bad food is usually food that it promotes cancer, promotes diabetes, promotes heart disease, right? Disease in general. They'll shorten your life and kill you. Not only kill you, make you sick, but make a child sick. Put a child in St. Jude's Hospital. Make a baby sick. Can't give it to a baby. So I want to go over milk, right? Is milk good or is milk bad? In short, milk is good. Milk is not bad. And milk is not good just because they told you that it's good. They didn't tell you why it was good, right? Now, let me go into milk, cow's milk, right? We're not dealing with soy milk and almond milk. And I'm going to go into why all that stuff is poison, why all that stuff is bad, and why you need to avoid almond milk and avoid soy milk and avoid oat milk if you have IBS and IBD and things like that. Now, cow's milk, right? In America, Australia, New Zealand, United Kingdom, wherever you live in the modern world, there's all these different brands when you're dealing with milk. So first thing we're dealing with is we want to deal with what is inside of milk that is supposed to be good. What is in cow's milk that is good for you? First thing that's inside of cow's milk that's good for you that you need is protein. Milk has plenty of protein in it, right? Another thing that's inside of it is saturated fat, right? Not trans fat, saturated fats, right? Saturated fatty acids, fatty acids. Um, Another thing that's inside of milk is calcium, right? Now, vitamin D is in certain milks. They put it in. Naturally, vitamin D is not supposed to be in milk. So I'm not going to mention vitamin D, right? So like I said, it's calcium, which is, dealing with electrolytes and things like that. Another, uh, or the last, I should say, because it's dealing with these things is not really that much. It's not a superfood, right? So the last thing that's inside of milk that you need is, obviously there's carbs, things like that. But like I said, you have mainly protein. Then you're dealing with fat, saturated fat, fatty acids, and I'm gonna go into what type of fatty acids. And then there's the calcium, right? When you're dealing with cow's milk, oat milk, soy milk doesn't have these things in it. Now, actually, I'm gonna bring it up. Let me bring up. Guys, here's the M. Shit. Milk. right? Also, obviously you got vitamin B12. That's another thing that's in it. Vitamin, you know what? Let me add vitamin B12 to it. It's not really, it's compared. The main thing I was saying, protein and so forth. Let me add vitamin B12 to it. For all you that know the benefits of vitamin B12, right? So vitamin B12, calcium, protein, yes, and vitamin B6, and so forth. These are the good things. This is the nutrition that is inside of milk, right? If you don't know, you can look up individually what each of these things do, right? But if you already know that stuff is healthy. So let me go also into fat. A lot of people will say, because a lot of people like milk less percentage and so forth. They don't like whole milk. Whole milk is the best milk because it has the most fat, right? So I want to go into also the fat part because a lot of people is probably going to be like, "You tripping? Fat? How is fat good inside of milk? How is fat good?" What you need to learn, right? And this is something I'm going to talk about repeatedly on my channel is fat. How fat is good, how fat is bad. What you need to understand is when I say fat, we're talking about fatty acids. There are different fatty acids. It's not all the same. So you usually have in food omega 3 and omega 6, right? So omega 3 and omega 6 are two different fatty acids. Omega 3 is usually the good one. Omega 6 is usually the bad one, right? When you're dealing with milk, you're dealing with saturated fat, not trans fat. Trans fat is the fat that is inside of, inside of donuts and so forth, right? Now, when you're dealing with good fats like omega 3, you might have heard of like fish oil. And you see the people with the supplements and little tablets. So this is something that is good. And then one thing also I want to mention we do with Crohn's is omega 6 is inflammatory. So the studies they've done on this fatty acid omega 6 have shown that it is inflammatory. But the studies they've done on omega 3, the omega 3 fatty acid has shown that it's anti-inflammatory. So there are things in milk and this fatty acid that's in milk that is going to actually aid you if you have Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, IBS, IBD, and not quite the opposite, right? So I want you to remember that. And the only difference between omega 3 and omega 6 to remember is in the chain, it's 1, 2, 3 carbon atoms before, right? Carbon atoms, 1, 2, 3, and then this 6 before you see this double bond. That's all the difference is, right? That's why it's omega 6, omega 3, and that makes a big difference when you're dealing with nutrition and dealing with if it's good, dealing with if it's bad. Last thing I'm gonna say about omega 6, right? Omega 6 once again is bad. It's in a lot of these oilseed, grapeseed oil, corn oil. It's a lot of vegetable oil, a lot of processed oils. It's in almonds. This is what I was talking about. So if omega 6 is inflammatory, and that's what studies are saying, when you go and you buy almond milk, that's actually gonna be inflammatory. And I can factually tell you why that you shouldn't drink the almond milk's inflammatory because why? Because of the omega 6. You can't tell me anything about cow's milk that is inflammatory because cow's milk contains things that are anti-inflammatory. There's never been studies that have linked milk, cheese, dairy to inflammation. Milk, cheese, and dairy, and this is where I'm going to get into the negatives of dairy, right? Milk, cheese, and dairy have been linked to intestinal discomfort. What do I mean intestinal discomfort? This is the only and this is the main negative when you're dealing with milk, right? When you're dealing with dairy, when you're dealing with any discomfort that you feel. Discomfort dealing with basically when people drink milk, their stomach, their belly, colon, it starts to, churn around. You start to feel kind of queasy, right? Now, let me explain to you something about this whole thing. That does not mean that just because that you drunk something and it's made you feel this intestinal discomfort, that doesn't mean there's been an inflammatory response. Remember, what a lot of people need to know about milk is that milk contains something called lactose, right? Now, enzymes break down food, break down different things in the food in the body. So we have different enzymes. Most people, and you probably heard this, and it's dealing with lactose intolerance, milk allergies. Most people do not have the enzyme to digest lactose. So when you don't have the enzyme to digest something, it causes a little discomfort in the digestive system. This is what fiber does. This is the same reason why soluble and insoluble fiber causes discomfort. Now, fiber is not bad. Fiber is not inflammatory. But we all know that if you consume fiber to a certain amount, it's going to be, it's going to cause discomfort. That doesn't mean that it's bad. It's just because that you cannot digest fiber. So anytime that you lack an enzyme and you can't digest something that's in a food, it is going to cause discomfort. It's going to cause a mild discomfort. That does not mean that it's inflammatory. That does not mean that it is bad. That does not mean that you should take it out of your diet. That does not make it automatically the boogeyman. So that is something that people need to understand. That's the main thing we deal with milk is milk allergies and lactose intolerance. Now, the only people in the world when you're dealing with dairy, main people who have the enzyme are usually people of like Italian descent, Dutch descent, Swedish descent. These people, because when you go to this part of the world, this is where that farming cows comes from. If you are of Chinese descent, you probably don't have the enzyme. If you are of Native American descent, you don't have the enzyme. If you are of African descent, a black person, you don't have the enzyme, right? A lot of black people, they cannot digest lactose. You see what I'm saying? And that's why when you drink it, you get a little discomfort. But like I said, it doesn't make it bad just because the majority of people in the world can't digest lactose. Lactose is one thing that's coming out of this milk. What about the protein, right? So it just doesn't make any sense for this one thing that you can't digest that causes discomfort. And then people are like, oh, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna trick these people and I'm gonna tell them that just because you get this little discomfort, I'm gonna try to likewise it in the person's head to the discomfort from eating McDonald's, the discomfort from eating this and eating that. We gotta really understand what is something that is good to eat and something that is bad to eat. And the fact that omega-3 is anti-inflammatory, and the fact that there's so many benefits to drinking cow's milk, and then they're gonna try to promote soy, which is something that soy affects a person's estrogen levels. It affects men's estrogen levels. It affects women's estrogen levels. The fact that they would promote almonds, which we could see right here, almonds are high in omega-6, which is inflammatory. The fact that they will promote oat milk and all this different stuff that is inflammatory, as you can see, look, omega-6 sources, this is moderate 5.6. Now, omega-6 is dealing with mainly linoleic acid. I want you to remember that. And omega-3 is dealing with linolenic acid, right? So these two different things. So I want you to remember, omega-3 good, omega-6 bad, right? So, that's just a quick little and one more thing I want to go over because it's tricky. Is when you're dealing with milk brands, you want organic milk. You want a brand like Stonyfield. Um, I wouldn't trust Horizon. Most milk, what you need to understand, what a lot of people to know is that the way that they treat cows, conventional cow farming, right? The way that they treat cows, most of these brands, you're dealing with milk. The cows get sick, the cows get infected. They give the cows antibiotics. They give the cows growth hormones. Um, the cows' udders get infected, and then it gets inflamed, and then it's pus going into the milk when they milk it, and all this stuff makes it taste it's a whole lot of nasty and a whole lot of unhealthy things that go on with most milk brands. So when you're dealing with milk, when you're dealing with most all of this stuff that you see, Hud, Quaker, right, this non-organic milk, this stuff is bad for you. This stuff is going to cause inflammatory response because the cows are sick and so forth and things like that. Dealing with the farming, that's not, we dealing with raw milk or we dealing with organic milk, which even tastes different when you drink Hud milk compared to, let me type in organic milk, right? Like, let me try to find, like, this is the one that I drink. Organic, it's 1% grass fed. And another thing is that they feed the cows corn, or sometimes they feed the cows mainly they feed the cows grains, and this makes the cows sick. So you need to make sure that it's organic milk. right? So this brand is a brand that I definitely trust. I could taste the difference. I recommend that if you have Crohn's, irritable bowel syndrome, whatever, right? Get milk in your diet, right? And I need you to get this Organic Valley grass milk, 1% grass fed, no grain, organic whole valley ultra pasteurized grade A, 1% like whole milk. This milk, it also comes in let me see. Yeah, it also comes in 2% milk, reduced fat milk with less fat if you want less fat. I am not less fat, I'm not a less type of person. Like I explained to you, the omega-3 is good. So if you getting less fat, then you getting less omega-3 and less anti-inflammatory properties, and then it'd be less healthy than it really is. You understand what I'm saying? So I've been talking and talking and talking and talking, going this little rant, right? This is the information that I have on milk, cow's milk. Like I said, I'm not a fan of almond milk, soy milk, oat milk, all this other stuff, and this vegan stuff that they're trying to promote. So I wanted to go into this, and I wanted to give y'all an explanation um for if milk is bad, if milk is good. um Milk is good, promote good gut bacteria. Milk is good for you, hydrates you, with protein in it, so forth, right? I recommend everybody drink at least 1 glass of milk a day, right? This is another good brand, Stonyfield Organic, whole milk, ultra pasteurized vitamin D, right? Um, you see DHA omega-3. So basically that's it for this video. Hope you guys learned something. Hope that I'm able to show you, you know, some of the stuff dealing with. Also, it's grass fed, so the cows are like grazing rather than the cows being all cooped up inside of this place with feedlots and all this stuff. It's a whole lot of stuff, and then the cows being up. It's a whole lot of stuff that dealing with farming that you gotta look out for when you're dealing with a brand, right? I don't want to go on for too much longer. This has been Native Boy KTA. This is my video on is milk bad, is milk good. Um, Hoping that you guys learn something from it, and more videos coming soon dealing with IBS, IBD. And that's it. Peace.